Hello, I'm Kate Freeman, and this is the Daily Dollop. On this episode of the Daily Dollop, I'm going to talk about the association of healthy with restriction, what foods help you feel full and satisfied, and the key elements to building a tasty, delicious, and filling salad. Well, welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Daily Dollop, and I'm Kate Freeman, a registered nutritionist and the founder of the Healthy Eating Hub. And not so fun fact about me is that as a very young woman, like many of you, I'm assuming, I fell into the trap of diet cycling and diet culture. When I was about 21 years old, I did one of those 12-week bikini body challenges with a colleague at work because, we wanted to be leaner and more beautiful and then to do a photo shoot in a bikini looking like uber fantastic. And there was just a lot of talk about the fact that it's just really important to discipline yourself and have the character to stick to this really restrictive eating pattern and get that lean. And it all felt like, a good thing to do. Like I was going to be a good person by being this restrictive and getting that lean. And I was going to show people how disciplined I was. And I remember trying to stick to 1,200 calories as a 21-year-old, which was so not enough food. And I just remember being starving all the time. I was living off like these pathetic tuna salads for lunch and then drinking copious cups of tea during the day at work, literally to try and starve off the hunger and get through the day at work. About 8 weeks in, I remember starting to feel thinner and then that feeding this desire to go on. But I was so grumpy, so tired. And then I started getting nosebleeds and bruising easily. And I started getting sick, like cold after cold. And I was married at the time because I got married really young. And my husband said to me, babe, you need to stop this. This is getting out of control. And I remember being like, no, it's fine. Like, it's fine. But going to a social event, which was catered and it had like 3-course meals, and I was all like, I'm not going to eat there. I'm not going to eat there. And then when I got there, it was just all smelled so beautiful and I love food and everybody would have made a big deal about me not eating. So I ate all of the courses and far out it felt good because I was so hungry. But that's it. It's like something snapped on the inside of me. And that evening I came home and I ate like 7 pieces of toast with heaps of butter and honey on it, just until I felt like ill because I felt like I couldn't get rid of the hunger fast enough. But then what happened is for weeks and months afterwards, like I was just gripped with this insatiable hunger. And long story short, I ended up, by the time the whole process was finished, like, months later, being 4 kilos heavier than when I even started this silly bikini body challenge. And so began, years of dissatisfaction with my body and trying to get back on being that strict again and never really fully being able to do it. And here we are. So I'm in my late 30s now and very, very proud to say that I haven't embarked on a silly restrictive eating pattern for many, 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 many years now. And how good it feels to just eat food and to be happy in my body and be healthy. I don't get sick. I can manage a lot of things going on in my life and it's definitely a nice place to be. But it leads me into the podcast topic today around building a filling and satisfying salad. And the reason I picked this topic and particularly around salad is because when people have dieted or they're trying to lose weight, they talk about salad. I remember, a family member of mine, it might have been an auntie or something, years ago when I was a kid talking about losing weight, and she was like, oh, friggin' just eat lettuce all day and I still don't lose weight. So there's this whole idea of we're associating weight loss and healthy eating with restriction. And I think if you've embarked on many diets before and you've lost weight successfully or not successfully, you will have probably an underlying association of healthy and restrictive being one and the same. And I think if the thought of being a healthy eater for your whole life, if your immediate gut response is, oh, misery, or oh, I can't do it, or oh, but what about, I don't want to miss out, is if that's your gut response to learning how to be a healthy eater for the rest of your life, it's probably safe to say that your brain might associate healthy eating with restrictive behaviors. And so what I want to do is actually pull those two things apart for you today in this episode, because they are two different things. Healthy eating does not equal restriction. And so, as you know, I like to call out the woo, which is, unevidence-based information, typically defined as pseudoscience. But I sometimes like to think of woo as just poor messaging around, what should be, key things that we understand for looking after ourselves and living a good life. They've become distorted with these other messages. And one of the things is, particularly in our culture, is this idea of healthy eating. And so what's actually come from healthy eating and the way that our culture and diet culture portrays healthy eating is an eating disorder called orthorexia. So orthorexia is defined as being a pathological obsession with healthy eating. And I put, healthy eating in inverted commas when I say that, because what orthorexia ends up being is not healthy at all. And so the person embarks upon, following some dietary rules and restrictions with the intention, quite innocently for most people, to be healthy. But in fact, what ends up happening is the opposite, and that the restriction and the rules impair both physical and mental health of the individual. Now, this is quite an extreme form, of where healthy eating actually becomes unhealthy. But I see it every single day in my 2 dietetic clinics in Canberra and also in my online program. Disordered eating, so not a full-blown eating disorder, but disordered eating where people are unnecessarily restricting or doing particular behaviors that actually don't foster a healthy relationship with food or their body. And they've learnt this, though, from diet culture, because they've been taught this. I just want to highlight a really great podcast called End Eating Disorders that's produced actually by my producer as well. And their goal is to bring awareness to all sorts of eating disorders and highlight the stigmas and things around eating disorders. I would highly recommend it just as a listen. I've certainly found for me, working in this space, that a lot of sort of the behaviors that I see in my clients, while not necessarily being full-blown eating disorders, can be like triggers or just underlying behaviors that can morph into eating disorders down the track. And so, yes, there's a part of me that feels like pretty worried, honestly, for the next generation, for our current generation, because we should know how to feed ourselves and we really don't. But the truth is that healthy eating is not the same as restrictive eating. Healthy eating is about giving your body nutrients. And I think, it is important to know that we do want to limit our intake of ultra-processed foods, foods that have changed quite dramatically between the farmer and you. They're high in energy, low in nutrition, but that's really where the dietary restraint can end, is you enjoy those in small amounts. They don't frequently feature in your diet, but what's the point of embarking on healthy eating, being like, I'm not going to eat that, and I'm not going to eat this, and I'm not eating that, but then you're like, well, what do I eat? And so you actually want to focus your efforts on thinking, okay, yes, I want to decrease my intake of a certain number of foods that might be negatively impacting my health, but then go take it that next step further and go, well, if I'm not eating that, what am I going to eat? And focusing your efforts there, because that's where you're going to make the most gains. Because if you're not actually spending effort on learning how to feed yourself well, then, you're doing it in a way that's like me, starving, living on this pathetic tuna salad every day with measured out like 5 grams of Dijon mayonnaise because I friggin' love condiments. Anyway, I was very sad and miserable. So here's how we build a healthy, filling, and satisfying salad based on the key nutrients that we know help manage our appetite long term. And I say this to clients who are wanting to lose weight long term, not quick, because that's not what I do, but long term, is that good long term weight management isn't about willpower, it's about appetite management, helping yourself feel full and satisfied on a lower intake of energy so that your body can start to chip away at its fat stores over time. So step number 1 for building a healthy filling salad is lots of colorful vegetables. The great thing about vegetables is that they are voluminous. So they're filling up a bowl, they're filling up a plate. Just looking at a meal that feels big and looks big is actually a key part of the psychological drivers that helps your brain feel full. So if you're looking at a plate that's full of veggies, it's automatically you're thinking, I'm going to finish all of this and I'm going to feel satisfied. Not to mention all of the fantastic nutrition, fiber, vitamins, minerals that's in veggies. I've talked about that in other podcasts. You know how much I love vegetables. So step number 2 is we then want to add in a minimally processed protein source. So we know that protein is filling, it slows down digestion. We want to, not have a pathetic amount, like 1 little tin of tuna, or potentially not enough. Have 2 tins. Have a decent amount, like at least half a chicken breast of chicken. Have 2 to 3 boiled eggs, depending on, your energy needs and how hungry you feel. But better that you fill up on the whole food, have a little bit more protein, feel in control of your appetite than to skimp on these things only to be starving later on and feel like you're just grabbing ultra processed foods and being like, I don't care anymore, right? So fill up. The protein source will help keep you full and satisfied. But don't end it there. Don't just stick to your protein and your salad and your veggies. Seriously, that's so yesterday. We want to add in a high fiber carbohydrate source. Your body needs carbohydrates. You don't need to build your whole diet out of carbohydrates. And in fact, low carbohydrate diets can actually include a carbohydrate rich food like bread or rice or pasta or legumes or potato at each of your main meals, so 3 times a day, when they're well portion controlled. And you can reap the benefits of a lower carbohydrate eating pattern if that's what you want to do, but still eat carbohydrate rich foods. Check out my carb episode for more on that. But things like your whole grains, so grainy croutons, brown rice can go in there, quinoa can go in there, 4 bean mix, lentils, leftover baked potato or sweet potato, corn kernels are all great high fiber, whole food-based carbohydrate sources that you can chuck into your salad. Now that means that carbohydrate combined with that protein and all that veg is just going to trickle into your bloodstream across the afternoon, giving you the energy that you need to function, but not giving it to you all in one hit, just nice and gradual, which is going to help keep your blood sugar levels stable and help you feeling good. Number 4 is adding in healthy fats, avocado, nuts and seeds, maybe a bit of aioli or an olive oil based dressing. This is all about flavor, texture, and enjoyment in your meal as far as I'm concerned. But also fats are an important part of a diet. They help absorb actually all the fat soluble vitamins in your veggies. So adding a fat to your veggies or your salad is a really great idea. They also can help with satiety and just general meal enjoyment. Lastly, add in some fun bits. Dried fruit, sun-dried tomatoes, even fresh fruit like mango or grilled peaches if you've got time, a little sprinkling of feta or some fresh herbs. Add some flavor, add some enjoyment. Just really get in there this summer with your salads. I don't want to see any more skimpy salads Guys, just bulk those bad boys out. Feel good, satisfied, and happy with what you're eating, and watch how you stay in control of your appetite throughout the day. So build yourself a healthy salad today. Healthy eating is not the same as restriction, but that's it for this show today, team, and we'll see you next time.